Ever since I painted the front of my house, I have been desperate to finish off one part of its curb appeal. And it's this, the path. A number of years ago, I was on holiday in Tanzania and I used the very limited Wi-Fi that I had to bid on these original Minton floor tiles for my hallway. The thing is, I've got loads left and I'm convinced I can make a beautiful pathway with them, despite having never made an external path before. These tiles have been tucked away in my basement for a couple of years, so I'm going to bring them and all the spiders up into my living room. I started by setting out the pattern and I'm working out, do I have enough tiles to make the path wider? I'm taking a bit of a guess, but I think I do. So I'm going to take out all of these old flower beds. They were here when I moved in, and to be honest, they kind of got in the way of the gate. This ground was fairly easy to get through with a chisel, but there are some bits that just won't budge. I might have to get some more heavy machinery for this. The amount of rubble I took up from this path was probably about a ton. And you notice that the path isn't square and that the gate isn't lined up with the door. So today's task is make the path unwonky.
Disappointed face.
In an ideal world, I want it to be lined up with the front gate. You'll never believe this, but trying to peg string into tarmac didn't work. So instead I used this red spray. And this was when I suddenly remembered something really important. I was pretty sure when I built this border, I built it at a 90-degree angle. So this is one of those times where future Emma gets to say thank you to past Emma. Queen behaviour. So what we've learned is that this side is the good side and this side is the naughty side. Look, okay, don't laugh. Don't laugh. I made this in Canva. This is how I'm going to design it, lined up on the left and at the front with just some extra tiles to fill in on the right. My concrete base needs to be at least 10 centimetres, so looks like I'm going to be digging tomorrow. Does anyone know if you can make a concrete slab on a slant? Today I'm digging it out, which has had its challenges. In fact, it seems to start raining the second I think about coming outside, so let's get this done quickly before the rain gods notice I'm here. I've got to dig out about 2 to 3 centimetres to make my new concrete platform thick enough. Somebody asked me, can you use indoor tiles for outdoors? And there's a very simple, quick answer to that. No. So you might be wondering, why am I doing it? What am I doing? Well, I already have the tiles. I want to make use of what I've got, and I'm going to take certain steps to try and make them less likely to crack in the winter, including adding some anti-slip to the sealant and making it breathable. I've also got a lot of spares so I can replace ones that get broken. Once this is done, my next step is going to be preparing the tiles. Since they're reclaimed, they're covered in old grout, but luckily I have lots of experience of taking this off. After digging out this path, I thought it would be very straightforward to lay the new concrete. I just needed 10 minutes to take out these bits at the side, right? Let me tell you, I miss the innocence of who I was when I started this 6 hours ago. I figured maybe my chisel was blunt and that's why it was taking forever. So I thought I'd sharpen it, even though I've never sharpened a chisel before. I still don't know if this is the right way, but this is the way that I decided to do it, and it seems to have worked fine. Except sharpening didn't help at all. I felt like they built this concrete with 1 part diamonds, 2 parts titanium, or summit, I don't know. But there's actually a very good reason that I didn't just hire an electric tool at this point. And that reason is the sunk cost fallacy. No, but for real, I know that the electrics go under the house here somewhere, and I really don't want to be digging into those. To add to my woes, I realised that I actually hadn't dug this out deep enough to allow for the height of the tiles. Oh, and did I mention I've got an Airbnb guest coming in 24 hours? And unless he can levitate, he's going to need to roll his shiny suitcase wheels up this path. Good news is my sister helped me get the materials, and she told me a funny joke. Funny. I really made some progress, laying this path to improve my curb appeal, and it mostly went well. It's a bit weird. For a path, you'll need about 1 part cement and 5 parts ballast. And the easiest way to measure these out is by volume using a bucket. I don't have a wheelbarrow to mix this, so I was using this pot and realised really quickly that it was far too small. You must wear a mask. Cement is
Evil.
How much water you need actually depends on how wet the ballast is. So you just got to progressively add water slowly until it reaches the right consistency. And then when I was done, I just yeeted it out. So I have like an embarrassing confession. I didn't know that ballast was a mix of gravel and sand. So I bought the ballast and extra sand. And now I've got loads of sand. But you learn something new every day. This is where I thought it looked a bit weird, so I just filled in some gaps. Again, using the yeet method. And I actually used my level measure to keep it all flat. You can use something like this or a piece of wood and just sort of rock it back and forth until it levels itself out. This is so much hard work that I ordered a 14-inch pizza and had a glass of wine afterwards. After I concreted this path last week and it was christened by the local cat, it was time to start cleaning the tiles. And then I was like, hang on a second. I remember from last time it made it so much easier for me to lay the tiles out so I could work out how many I needed and take out the broken ones. So much to the confusion of my Airbnb guests, I laid out the entire pattern on my living room floor into something that now resembles a tiling crime scene. But fortunately, I have a lot of the pattern already laid out because I bagged them up after I tested out the pattern at the start of the project. Well, thank you very much, past me. I emptied the bag bags and I took out whatever was missing from these boxes. These ones look like sandwiches.
Yummy!
There are some pieces that I know that I've ran out of, like these white pieces that go around the border. Sad face. So I'll have to cut these down from the larger white triangles. Oh, look at that back, ready to be buttered. And so you might be wondering at this point, why didn't I just put this outside on the actual path? Because if people step on them, they'll crack. And I've got guests coming. Hi. All the time. Hello. Ooh, your path's nice. I've laid out most of the pattern, but I've ran out of these tiny white ones. So I'll have to cut them down from the big ones. The first step is triage. This one's damaged on both sides, so it's kind of no use to me. This one's damaged on only one side, so I'm going to keep the left. And this one's perfect. Oh, you're so pretty. They're not actually big enough to cut 2 triangles out of, so I'm getting a bit nervous now that I may not have enough. And to make this more interesting, I randomly got bitten by a dog today. Here's how I found the right cut line. I used a piece that was already the right size and marked it. This is where I realised that I had 300 pieces to cut. I learned the hard way they have to come in from both ends to stop the edges from chipping. It took me about 15 seconds to do every piece. And using the power of maths, I can tell you that's a solid 75 minutes on this tiling machine. I was ready to lose my mind. But seeing the pattern come together is so satisfying. That is all except this corner that I could not for the longest time work out how to fix. Okay, so after hours worth of slog, the pattern was finally finished. Yay, or so I thought. Notice anything weird about the pattern? And I didn't expect when I asked you to tell me what was wrong with these tiles that only one of you would spot it and the rest of you would find 3 problems I didn't even know I had. So I guess all I have to say to that is... thanks. It's been a grueling few days cleaning up these tiles because I need to chip the grout off of every single side with my tile cutter, and after every section I need to clean it out because it gets all gunky. I wonder if I can make a pot from this mush. Over the course of about 5 days I cleaned up each section and I felt like a bit of a criminal because I had to do this whenever my Airbnb guests were out and just hope they didn't come back. I looked so shifty. Danger of DIY. Look at this massive gap. That's basically because the grout has been cleaned off the tiles and now they sit closer together. So let me tell you what the main mistake was. This side had 23 squares and the other side had 22. It meant I had to add in an entirely new row and shift the pattern so that it was sitting central again. Now who's ready to get laid? Grow up. So when the sun came out, I didn't want to miss this opportunity. I cleared off all the tree poop from the path and made my adhesive. The water goes in first, trust me. It stops it from being lumpy. And speaking of lumpy, I think this is the moment I should have given up. This adhesive is really old. In fact, it's expired and it's full of massive lumps of solidified adhesive. And I also realised the path was too low. I'd need a bed of about 3 centimetres when it's supposed to be no more than 1.2. I guess I measured wrong. Which had me saying, finally I decided to take up what I had there and start from the beginning. So I got some more concrete and I leveled out this area, raising this up to where it needed to be. Within 2 hours, it started to rain. Do you think my little bag raincoat worked? No, of course it didn't. Look at this concrete! So I've got to fix this. After 3 weeks of fighting daily rain, I realised I was going to have to take up the part of my concrete path that didn't set. It is tough taking a step back. And as we slowly come into winter where it may be too cold to set the path, I really did think about giving up. But rather than give up, I thought I'd try again, and this time I used some primer. And instead of concrete, I'm going to try some levelling fluid. And with this, I seem to be having more luck, apart from, of course, the tree poop. It was relentless. But tackling all the problems with this path got me rereading a favourite book of mine. It's called Grit by Angela Duckworth. It teaches you about resilience. Like how when everything's going wrong, how to not let a single leaf push you over the edge. Oh no, tree poop. My main takeaway is that so much of achievement isn't about talent or skill, it's about resilience, overcoming mistakes and keeping going when things go wrong. And this time, it worked. If you've been here since the start, you'll know that we've had some challenges. I think I can't do this project, but today I got to lay my first tile. To make this job easier, I need to take off this gate. Also because you've asked me to see what it might look like on the other side. With these gate brackets being quite old, they didn't come off as easily as I might have hoped. So I thought I'd try this tool that's designed for taking out screws that are stuck. And I don't know, maybe I didn't use this right, but I could not get it to work. So in the end, I used a different tool called brute force. Forbidden frosting. Oh, I want to eat this so bad. The adhesive goes down and gets spread out with a notched trowel. Placing these tiles isn't as easy as it looks because they're all different thicknesses, but I got a very particular way of laying these to make sure they're straight that I learned from fitting my other paths. I had to stop when it started to rain, but now that I've started, nothing's going to distract me. Oh, a carrot. Okay. So this little section took me a couple of hours pajamas before I stopped for the rain. I do have some bad news. It was too cold for me to go out in my spider suit, so I had to put on a jumper. So far, it's taken me 3 days to get to this point. It doesn't actually take that long, but I'm having to contend with short daylight hours, vicious attacks by my rose bush, sabotage attempts by the tree poop, bloody leaves, going bad, and of course the constant threat of rain. Probably the most common question I've had since starting this project is, why don't I just stick up a gazebo? Well, the trouble is, all of the surface water from this area drips down through this hole and onto the path, so even with a gazebo, it still gets soaked. But here's how I keep the path straight. I've added some lines onto the floor to make sure that I keep on track, and then as I'm going, I'm making sure that things are lined up where they should be, which has proven to be more of a fine art than a science. I've back buttered my tiles to make sure that they adhere well, although I'm pretty sure this isn't how you back butter, it's more of a back wiggle. But hey, whatever gets the job done. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Well, this is really getting out of hand. I decided it was really time to up my game against this tree poop. No, not really. The truth is, I'm using this to get all of the dirt out of these gaps. I have a whole bunch of missing pieces at the very front, and I'm cutting them down using existing pieces. And I'm not going to pretend that I didn't cut these pieces down wrong at least once by not cutting the right side of the line. She doesn't even know this is wrong yet. Look how happy she is.
Oh.
But that wasn't my only challenge. I realised that there was loads of adhesive stuck on the inside, and this had to be removed before I could glue them in place. Oh, it's just like frosting. Ideally, you wouldn't have the adhesive squirting up in between the gaps. You would grout those later on. But for these small pieces, it's a lot easier just to squish it in there. Give it a little belly rub of approval. I also did these sides at the very front, these pieces being the exact right size. I've had so many compliments from passers-by about this path.
That's beautiful.
And it's got me thinking about other ways I might be able to improve my curb appeal. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I finally finished the main part of this path. Over the past couple of months, the daily rain has been a real enemy to this project, but no saga's complete without the introduction of a surprise villain.
The cold.
Tile adhesive can only be laid above 5 degrees. Otherwise, it stops curing properly, and the water in the mix can freeze. And with these continuing challenges, it may seem like this project has been
A bit of a disaster, but the truth is, this has been one of my favourite projects to date because it's a realistic account of how long things can take. Now the adhesive is dry, it's time for the grouting. And you don't just slide this across the top like a limp handshake. You have to really pump it into the gaps. Do this by going diagonally in a couple of different directions. You don't want to leave the excess grout on the surface to dry. Ask me how I know. But if you do, leave a wet towel over the dried grout for a couple of hours and it makes it easier to remove. Next, I'll be adding some sealant to the tiles as well as some anti-slip so this doesn't become a slip and slide. I asked you what I should do with this gap at the side. Many of you said you liked the pattern, but those who didn't used all caps. So I decided to go for plain to not take away from the main part of the design. The trouble is, I didn't really have enough whole pieces to complete this border. So I had to get a bit creative.
I started with some slim ones around the edge because this matches the rest of the border.
Though I did get caught out with a bit of dried adhesive that I had to remove. Next I did a row of these fat ones.
And then, I don't know, the rest is just a bit of a free-for-all.
I back buttered some with too much adhesive, so I had to squidge these into place. Squidge, 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 squidge. And then it was time for me to lay my very final piece of tiling on this floor, and I cannot tell you how relieved I feel. Next, I needed to give my tiles a little bath, and it was at this point I realised that I must have cracked one of these tiles when laying them.
And my way of dealing with that is to be grumpy. When this is dry, I'll be adding some breathable sealant, but not before I clean the entire thing.
It may look fairly clean already, but it's covered with lots and lots of mysterious marks like paint, tape and glue. I used some basic cleaner and some elbow grease, but to be honest, I didn't really touch the sides. So I got out the pressure washer, and not even that got off the hardest stains. I need to find something else that will help me remove all of this. What do you think would help?
Meanwhile, I have to do something about this gate.
It's covered in decades worth of paint, and I've realised it's actually a vintage wrought iron gate. So I'm definitely motivated to keep it. I slathered this in paint remover, left it for 24 hours, and it peels off in such a satisfying way. But it doesn't remove everything, so I have 3 challenges: removing the rest of the paint, the marks on the tiles, and also my rusting door numbers that have seen better days. And I want to see if I can fix all these problems with my portable Dremel. I found the buff attachment worked really well to get all of these bits off the surface. It took me about 30 minutes to clean off all the muck. I poured out some sealant, or as I like to call it, floor milk. This needs 2 coats, and then I'm going to add some anti-slip.
Whilst I wait for that to dry, I need help tidying up this vintage gate. I experimented with a couple of different attachments to see what would work best. I used this nylon brush to prep the surface.
And spray painted them gold. I really thought by adding this paper I wouldn't make any mess. So then I had to use the wire brush to get it off of the brick. With these 3 jobs done, one step closer to the finish line, for this final video, I promised you some details. How much did it actually cost? And where are the finished photos?
Someone asked me recently, what's the hardest project you've ever done? And I have to say, it might be this one. Because even though I muddled through like every project I've done before,
I seem to have every problem that could exist. Like concrete not setting, like raining every day for 2 months.
what am I doing?
But I'm actually kind of pleased because I've shown you can come across a million problems and still persevere.
In total, I spent £671.28. However, £151 of that was for materials that I didn't use all of.
So I've adjusted the total to be this. So are you ready for the final shot? After a short break, I'll be doing some inside projects, so follow along if you don't want to miss that. And I'll be back out for a bit more curb appeal when the weather improves.